to go with our new digs here, making sure the whole crew's ready.
Did you bring an apple for the first day of school?
No, I didn't.
I
knew I forgot something.
All right.
Miles brought donuts, though.
Oh, good.
That's the same thing, right? Apples,
partake.
donuts.
I cannot partake. Congratulations to the Morning Line for their first show this morning. Well done. We will talk college football this morning. We will talk, obviously, baseball with Mark Borchard. Mike Somich will join us to give us all his picks. Few tack on the first weekend of college football. Kelly and I will review some of our NFL team futures. I want to get in first segment, though, with obviously the U.S. Open and some never too early Heisman talk.
Yes.
Never too early Heisman talk. First, let's talk tennis, because it is, as we tennis hardos like to say, it is the business end of the United States Open. Second half of the round of 16 begins today. We finally had a losing day yesterday, the dreaded 0-1.
Oh, no.
Where Alexei Popyrin.
What were you, 5-0 3 days ago?
Yeah, that was a monster day. It was a rather large day. Followed up with a nice plus 199 dog on Friday. Split, washed on Saturday, and we went 0-1 yesterday. Alexei Popyrin had three set points in the second set on his racket. He gacked it, and we knew the match was kind of over at that point. Tiafoe beats him. Today there are two plays in tennis, one of which is completely out of whack and unplayable. The other one is playable. Karolina Muchova, who is one of our two Q2 futures plays at 10-1 pre-flop. She is now the favorite to win quarter number 2. I put this in at VSiN.com/picks. Every host, every guest, every sport logs in their plays at VSiN.com/picks. That is for survivors. That is for subscribers and survivors too, by the way. It was minus 128 when I put it in on Saturday over Jasmine Paolini, who's trying to get to her third consecutive Grand Slam final. It is now minus 175.
Whoa!
So that's, what is that?
Significant.
47 cents of CLV. I have to tell you this, though. When we get this kind of CLV, it hasn't really worked out that well, so hopefully this is the exception.
Okay, that feels like a lot compared to what we normally talk about when you say it. Is there a reason?
We had one with Badosa a couple weeks ago that was 52 cents. We had one with Volinets, which was 47 cents. They both lost, by the way.
So not Paolini injury related or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
This is just the fact that I think besides Arina Sabalenka pulverizing the tennis ball, no one's playing better than Karolina Muchova.
I mean, you've bet her, 2 or 3 times now, at least?
I had her at Wimbledon to win her quarter. That didn't work out, but she's got 2 more matches to get to the prize here for Q2. So Muchova is unplayable, but Caroline Wozniacki is playable today. I got her minus 113. That's at VSiN.com/picks. This I put in yesterday over Beatriz Haddad Maia. That's at about, we're looking at, minus 123 right now. Don't let it get out of the minus 120s. Don't let it get higher than that if it happens to continue in that direction. So Muchova no longer playable today against Paolini, which is a match that starts in about 55 minutes, and then Wozniacki a little later today. That is a playable play against Beatriz Haddad Maia. To sort of update the futures that we have.
Yeah.
Muchova, 10-1 to win Q2, 2 matches away there. Paula Badosa, plus 550, 1 match away from winning her quarter, Q3. She's got to take down Emma Navarro. That's tomorrow. And then Iga Swiatek, 4 matches away, if you will, from winning the whole thing. So she's got a match today. She's got to advance to the quarterfinals as well. So the second half of the round of 16 at the U.S. Open today, the greatest show in sports, the greatest show in tennis for sure.
I love it. We talk about it every time, seemingly, but man, I wish we had just more U.S. Grand Slams where you could actually watch this stuff later into the night. And a great weekend of sports with that combined with college football and everything like that. Football's back. Love it. Great tennis, great golf.
Great golf. Should we have the golf discussion now or later? Let's have it later.
Yeah.
Let's talk about golf next, Evan, because I have a big question for you.
Okay.
And the question basically is, let me tease the question. You ready for this? Did anybody know it was happening is the question. That'll be we'll get Kelly's answer.
NBC, thank the bettors out there, that's for sure. Thank the bettors.
I just think it was one of these, we'll get into it, but it's like there's college football starting, right? U.S. Open for tennis hardos, but essentially you have this, well, I'll save it again. Well, I don't want to get into it. I want to talk about the Heisman, the never too early discussion on the Heisman first. So you have great college football, and we'll talk about some of the games that went on, obviously. We'll give our thoughts on those. But the Heisman Trophy, since the year 2000, since the year 2000, you have had really only a handful, not even a handful. You've had 4 non-quarterbacks win the Heisman Trophy. 4 non-quarterbacks. The most recent of which was Devontae Smith for Alabama in the pandemic year of 2020. So it's not something that occurs in the modern age of college football that frequently. Once every 5 years, if you're to take the sample size from the beginning of this century. And if you look at the Heisman odds board, again, scattered, sort of in there with nothing but quarterbacks, you will find, the Travis Hunters of the world, right, at 25-1, Travis Hunter from Colorado. And we spoke about Travis Hunter last week with Felica, which is to say that here's a guy who plays both sides of the football, which he did last year as well. We had this discussion last year about Travis Hunter, where it's like nobody's more dynamic in college football. Then he got hurt. Colorado wasn't any good. And we sort of decided, the question I asked Felica was, okay, what does Colorado have to be,
right? Yeah,
record-wise for Hunter? Let's say Hunter's not going to play as many snaps as he did this past week against North Dakota State every
all
week.
But 2.
What's that?
Played all but 2.
All but 2. That's not going to happen every week. But even if he played a tremendous amount of stats and he was phenomenal, the conclusion was, and I sort of led the answer, which is Colorado has to get to a bowl, right? Minimum for that to even be a consideration. Travis Hunter's not winning the Heisman if Colorado wins 4 games again. So this weekend, just to throw it out there, if a non-quarterback could earn your bet here, and there was a few performances by non-quarterbacks that were great. Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. Do you have a Jeremiah Smith ticket, or just Felica?
Just Felica.
Okay, 6 catches.
But he's part of the all-backup Ohio State backups
yes, that's why
tickets that we have. Yeah,
6 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was great. Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State. Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. I'm not sure if everybody caught this.
Yep.
6 touchdowns, 20 carries for 267 yards. I'll do the math for you. That's 13.35 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's not bad.
6 touchdowns.
I'm glad you said, did you catch that? Because I missed that one completely.
Yeah.
The one we're getting to, though, no.
Well, this is why I bring it up. So, Tetaroa McMillan from Arizona. He ended last year. By the way, Arizona had one of these interesting years last year where they were never involved in any national title hunt, of course. Mm-hmm. But I say that sort of like casually because if you look back at their actual record, the losses were so narrow, right? They lost to at Mississippi State by a touchdown. They lost to UW. Of course, UW ended up playing in the national championship game. They lost to them by a touchdown. And they lost at USC in what, third overtime college football, quote unquote, third overtime, right? So those were their only 3 losses. And McMillan ended the year last year with just a flourish of stats. And it was one of these things that sort of went under the radar nationally. And I'll raise my hand. I was part of that, where he ended the season at Colorado, 9 catches for 107 and a touch. Utah, home game, 8 catches for 116 and a touchdown. At Arizona State, this was the big game, 11 for 266 and a touchdown. And then in the bowl game against Oklahoma, 10 for 160. So he ends the season, and again, Arizona kind of not on the national scene. And then he shows up here for game number 1 against New Mexico, mind you. I get it. And we'll have a couple weeks here early where Arizona's going to roll their opponent and the stats are going to be, cartoon-like. But he ends up with 10 catches for 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. In the first half alone, he had 7 for 248 and 4 touchdowns. That, of course, with two quarters to go. So the question becomes, right off the bat here, after 1 week of college football, all right, does Tetaroa McMillan deserve, would you consider a bet on him at 65-1 to win the Heisman? And then the same question applies to him as it did to Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter in Colorado was, right. Colorado must get to a bowl game. Arizona has to make the playoff for him to get considered? Because all this is very subjective, right? Yeah. Why should Colorado only have to get to a bowl, but Arizona have to get to the playoff? But I actually think that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's exceeding on where you finished last year, right? So it is, like we talk about that often with the NFL awards and Coach of the Year. How much do you need to exceed what you did the season before? So it would be a massive leap for Colorado just to get into the playoff, right? But then you're talking about Arizona possibly winning that conference. I don't know, man. I feel like all of these guys, whether we want to talk Sanders, Hunter, or the kid from McMillan from Arizona, they all feel like long shots still. Like, I think they're fun. I think they're fun early season hype.
But at 65-1, he
was awesome.
Again, the competition is what it is. New Mexico, and it's only going to step up in the Big 12. Arizona, Big 12 team. This just in. And you look at their schedule and you think, okay, what can they actually have a record that would get them to a 12-team college football playoff? The potential hurdles at Kansas State in a couple weeks after they play Northern Arizona, at Utah a couple weeks after that after a bye. Let's pencil in an L there. Later they're at UCF, and later their second to last game of the year they're at TCU. All of those are hurdles. So it's going to be very difficult for the Arizona Wildcats to get there, obviously. But, dude, he looks like a man amongst boys.
So this was one of those games I had on TV, on second TV on mute, and I felt like every time I looked over there, he was making a catch. And at halftime, I was like, I gotta pull up the box score. And it was, wow, these are major numbers.
And of course, it should be noted, he also has to beat out his quarterback to actually win this as well. 65-1, I'm thinking about it. Let's put it that way. A little more college football and Kelly's thoughts on the Tour Championship in golf next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, the brand new time slot, 4 to 7 Eastern, 1 to 4 Pacific. Recap Week 1 college football and Florida State Boston College preview and all the day baseball. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Responsible sports betting starts with a game plan. That means stick to a budget. Keep it social, learn the game, and know the odds. Play with legal operators, and if you need help, reach out. Visit haveagameplan.org to learn more.
VSiN is thrilled to introduce a new VSiN.com tailor-made to the evolved needs of today's sports bettors. Our upgraded navigation streamlines your journey, allowing you to swiftly access articles, videos, and podcasts. Whether you're tuning in live or catching up on your favorite shows, everything is just a click away. VSiN.com guarantees a fluid and responsive experience across all devices, ensuring you stay connected wherever you are. We have enhanced tools such as our betting splits and expert picks, and introduce innovative features like parlay and odds calculators, all designed to make you a sharper bettor. Our How to Bet section is perfect for beginners, covering the fundamentals, while seasoned bettors can delve into our advanced betting strategies for the competitive edge you've been looking for. Sign up for free on VSiN.com or become a VSiN Pro subscriber, where you can unlock unlimited access to every tool, expert picks, and insight that make VSiN the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Circa Kelly. Look at this place. Look, we got the background now, like
Looks great.
the guys did all these years.
Where is everybody? They didn't come out here to see us?
I was able to place a bet prior to 7 a.m., which we couldn't do at the D.
That's
which is
nice. That's nice, yeah.
24 hours here at Circa. I will miss the D. Let me just shout out the folks at the D.
Oh, absolutely.
And specifically, this won't mean anything to anybody but me and Kelly, but Randy Rodriguez.
Randy and Marlon, thank you.
Randy and Marlon. Marlon, who taught us, who's from Hawaii. You don't say someone's from Hawaii as a Hawaiian. He was very sensitive to that. He says, if you're from Nebraska, are you Nebraskan? So we're like, all right, cool. We had those conversations. And Randy Rodriguez, who's the greatest human on earth. Derek Stevens and Mike Palm should know that.
Wait, so someone from Nebraska is not a Nebraskan?
No, they are. But like when someone, like for instance, let's talk about Tetaroa McMillan.
Ooh,
people will be like, hey, he's Hawaiian. And Marlon, who is from Hawaii, would say, yeah, but you don't say when someone's from like Nebraska, you know, the first thing out of your mouth isn't, oh, he's Nebraskan. He is, but that's not the first thing out of your mouth.
That's right. I mean, with Marlon, it's overall great guy, followed by anything else.
That's right. We get tweets. First, we get tweets at Circa. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Does it work the same way in this studio? I think it does.
But by you reading them, yes. Because
Yeah.
Kelly's still figuring out graphics.
Okay. This is
Baby steps here.
This is from. I'm totally not Ron Burgundying these, by the way. Let me just point that out. This is from the Numbers Guys. Oh, this is a great question, and maybe I should have been smart enough to say this. He says, at some point, could this be a play on Jasmine Paolini, because the line has moved so very much against her.
Question.
It's a great question, and yes, the answer to your question is mechanically, technically, yes. There's obviously a point where the value then shifts to Jasmine Paolini. Obviously, in the case of those of us who got Mohova at the better number, it doesn't apply to us unless you wanted to do, unless all of a sudden something changed and you thought something intrinsic in the match changed, but I don't. But yes, for those who have not gotten involved, there is a point. I just would not get in front of the Mohova train at this point. Scotty B726, biggest lineup improvement. Gill doesn't have to fling the cord off his left shoulder. Yes. Thank you.
Hey, he was practicing for a shampoo commercial for a year, okay?
That's right. And this is from, let's see, Xavier82. You boys look snazzy in that sexy studio of yours. Congratulations. It is a sexy studio. And then this segues right into the golf thing. Jeff G points out, Give Me the Hook. He said, Tour Championship date for 2025 is a week earlier next year, August 21st to 24th. Remember, it was pushed back a week this year due to the Olympics. You are correct, Jeff. But I still want to, the point kind of still remains, Kelly, which is the tennis, I'll use my world, the tennis equivalent to this is the slams are played. And by the way, no sport is as polite as tennis, where they wait for the NFL playoffs to happen, and then they have their first slam, and then the U.S. Open men's final is the first Sunday of the NFL, and tennis just gets out of the way for football. It's just coincidental. They didn't do it on purpose, but it's just perfect in terms of our betting calendar. There is something later in the tennis calendar called the ATP and the WTA finals, which is for the men's tour and the women's tour. They take the 8 biggest point winners, and they have this great tournament. And for the tennis hardos, it's something, but it just doesn't.
I was going to say, why is that not a bigger thing?
It doesn't capture the imagination of the casual. Okay. And so golf, and I just want to ask you this, because no one loves golf more than you. By the way, Kelly hosts a little podcast by the name of, it's called Long Shots.
Well, and shout out to Jeff G for having me on his podcast last week as well. So, yeah.
So the Tour Championship, the FedEx Cup, Scotty Scheffler won $25 million this weekend. And I don't get the impression, I'll use my buddy Tommy in D.C. as like the representative of casual sports fan America. I don't believe he even knew it was happening. What can they do about this?
This was a thing. Good job, Scotty Scheffler. Do I get to count it as an outright hit? I don't know that it does when you bet him at plus 135 with the starting strokes of Scotty Scheffler. No. So, we end the season with a win, though. We made some money, not $25 million worth. But look, this has been a long discussed topic since they instituted this about 5 years ago. I don't have the perfect answer. I think there's a lot of people out there that no matter what sport we talk about, playoffs and changes with, a lot of people like to complain without actually having a better solution in mind. Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem right now with golf.
There is no better solution, is there?
There really isn't, unless you want to go along the lines of the argument of, okay, you have a qualifying process for the playoffs. Pretty much every sport does. If you're good enough to make the playoffs, then you've made the playoffs. And from there on, nobody else gets a leg up besides when we talk about, like, the NFL, you get a bye, right? These sports where you get a bye. Other than that, everybody's on a level playing field, and it's whoever wins out from there on wins the whole dang thing, right? So it is a little weird to play 2 events, and then you get to the last one, and Scotty Scheffler, the best golfer in the world, is getting a 2-shot lead. Now, this year was also especially odd. Remember we talked about before the first playoff event, before the FedEx St. Jude, I made a bet on Morikawa to win the whole dang thing. And it was a bad bet, even though he did get kind of close yesterday. He flirted. He was second.
He won the 72 holes, right? Didn't he?
I believe Scheffler still did. I got to check that because I know I lost on all those. So the problem is that you get these guys coming in with the huge lead. And when I made that bet on Morikawa, I didn't take the time to fully add up what the prize money was going to be or prize points were going to be for the first 2 events.
Yeah.
Because even if you had won both of those, you were still going to be behind most likely Scheffler and Schauffele going into the Tour Championship. So I think this year was just it was a great example of how awesome and amazing Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele were all season long to be able to put themselves in that 1-2 spot going into the Tour.
I just think it's a question worth bringing up because I love golf. I know you love golf, and so they got to do something about this to sort of raise the. Did you have any bets that won in this?
I had Scheffler.
Just Scheffler.
Yeah, I had Scheffler.
Okay.
Hideki not getting a top 5 finish was big too. That was one of the ones I was big on. Everything else was a loss, but at least a good winner to end the season.
There you go.
That's for sure.
There is more golf and tennis after the slams. It's just not.
Yeah, we'll get into the fall schedule.
Yeah.
We'll be doing long shots. We'll be covering all that stuff. But it's kind of like soccer. We joke about ball carts.
Yeah.
It's like 2 weeks, and then I think we got the Fortinet or whatever back in Napa. So yeah, it turns around quick.
Still learning what to do with my arms here at this studio.
Yeah, we got a lot to learn. We got new earpieces in, lights.
No more hair dent. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's no music or slot machines. I don't know if I need to watch out for anybody coming in the studio or not.
College football. Oh, yeah, that's always a thing. College football week 1 is not done, by the way. I want to get your thoughts on your alma mater FSU here momentarily. But what are the big takeaways? We'll get Futak in here later for the big takeaways so far in college football. But of the marquee matchups, Georgia Clemson. Georgia is exactly who we thought they were. At least we could say that after the game, maybe not at halftime, but certainly Georgia is the behemoth that we thought them to be. Clemson, by the way, no one should be surprised at this point. Ever since Trevor Lawrence and those championship caliber teams, graduated and got drafted, this has been going on for 3 years at Clemson, right? So this shouldn't be any surprise. And Dabo is obviously behind the times, refusing the transfer portal. So that game, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you make any bets on that game? I know Falika had, he was all over it with the unders and team total under on Clemson.
I did not. The biggest sort of laugh we got this weekend is that we were in-gaming bets all weekend, and Todd at one point had Ole Miss, I want to say, some minus 70
awesome.
something or something like that. And Lane Kiffin is just ridiculous how he just, I'll show you, Furman. So that was just kind of amusing.
He's got a chip on his shoulder.
So I think that game is, nothing really big. The Notre Dame Texas A&M outcome is probably, in terms of just significance for a college football playoff, we all knew going into the season that if Notre Dame won this game, they're in coast mode. They're going to be favored in every other. By the way, I don't know how good Notre Dame is.
Yeah,
I don't know after that.
I wasn't very impressed with either side in that game, to be honest.
Notre Dame gets it done. They'll be favored in every game, and it's one of these. Remember now with the 12-team playoff, Notre Dame can lose a game, maybe even 2, and they're still in. And then they might get clocked, but that's that. And then USC, LSU, which I know our buddy Matt Brown was probably upset with the final. LSU and Brian Kelly lost his mind after the game yesterday, but because they had it on their racket late and they just could not get it done, and they left the door open. And USC not only with the game-winning field goal, but they get the game-winning touchdown at the end to seal it and win outright against LSU.
If I've said anything on this show for years, Gill, it is you cannot leave Miller Boss that much time left on the clock.
I believe you said that many times.
Yeah, many times, several times.
But maybe the headline there is USC has a defense, so we'll see.
Yeah.
What about FSU and Boston College? FSU, obviously big favorite, and coming off that Georgia Tech debacle in Dublin where they couldn't tackle anybody.
Yeah. I mean, look, they got beat up in the trenches against Georgia Tech. That is a concern. It's a major concern. I still think if I was looking at the side tonight, the only thing I'd be betting is Florida State, just because of the massive line move that we've seen from that correction from the Georgia Tech loss. So I would be the only way I'd go, Gill. With being a Florida State grad, I'm just gonna be watching and hope they can get this thing back on track. You might remember that wedding I was at in Miami just like a few weeks ago.
I do.
Part of the wedding gift I gave my buddy who was an FSU grad was an FSU national championship ticket. So sorry, that wasn't a gag wedding gift. I promise.
I just figured out you had betting ticket. I was like, how'd you get a ticket to the Florida State game?
I bet it out here. They brought it out there for him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We'll come back, a little baseball break with Mark Borchard from an undisclosed location somewhere in the desert. The Mets and the Braves getting close to the playoff spot. It's next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
VSiN is extending our VSiN Pro Football Special. That means for $175, you'll get access to both our NFL and college football betting guides, plus so much more. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $19. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN NFL Betting Guide and get prepared for this NFL season like never before. The guide has in-depth breakdowns for all 32 teams, best bets from our VSiN experts, playoff predictions, award market previews, and more. The guide is out now, and the only way to get it is to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Head to VSiN.com/pro to sign up and join the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Are you the type of player who's looking to get down $10,000 plus on an NFL line at the best price in the market? Or perhaps you're looking to get your in-play instantly accepted? Introducing Sport Trade, the app that's going to change sports betting forever. Minus 106 lines, instant in-play betting, and concierge player service. Sport Trade is perfect for those who want a premium betting experience. Sport Trade live now in New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa, and coming to Arizona and Virginia this fall. This is huge. Download Sport Trade, use code VSiN to earn 10% cash back on each wager in your first week. Terms apply. Got to be 21 years or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. It's Gill Alexander. Let me just say this about Sport Trade. We've had the CEO, Alex Kane, on a numbers game before. Super smart guy. We'll have him on again this week, hopefully. Sport Trade is going to change the game. And again, now, it was one thing when they were just in New Jersey, but if they're going to be 5 states deep, that is huge. So if you are lucky enough to be in New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa, and coming soon Arizona and Virginia, good on you, and you should absolutely take advantage. If you're doing this right, you should absolutely do so. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Mark Borchard standing by. I just want to read some of these. Mike Stacks, did they move you into Circa because you gave away your sushi place to upper management? I think all of the shows you've done, you always sit on the right side for the viewing audience. It's throwing me off. LOL. Congrats on the move to VSiN Studio. You deserve it. This is a theme of these tweets this morning, that I'm on this side and Kelly is on that side. Kyle D, do y'all live in a suitcase with how often they have you moving locations? Congrats on the new digs. However, I will miss the people watching in the background and Gill's nonstop wrestling match with his microphone cord. Oh, you noticed that. Let's see. This is from Jeff Holdorf. We'll miss Kelly's comments on the D's Patriots. Congrats, guys, on the new digs. Thank you for that. Loser Larry says, switch spots. I like you on the right side when I watch TV, LOL. And then there's a few more of those. Here's one more. Michael Burns, can't comprehend Gill on the left and Kelly on the right. I'm flummoxed. I did not know this was going to be a thing this morning. But apparently more than one of you think that, like, we have the proper sides of the bed, I guess, is the sort of equivalent if you're talking. Never mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he comes to us from an undisclosed location somewhere in the desert, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line at BaseWinner, basewinner.com, and he hosts a Bet US baseball show each and every morning. It's Mark Borchard, everybody. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's an interesting day. Labor Day is always a wild day, just like scheduling spots, and there's a couple scheduling spots that are weird to me today.
Explain that. Where are those?
Well, I think that Baltimore game's an interesting game, and they're priced in the market at minus 365. I don't have a problem laying the wood if it was like a natural game, but like Baltimore's coming back from Colorado. They're starting like an early game. It's an early-ish game for them. I don't know. It's hard to get behind Chris Flexen, though, right? Right, Gill? We talked about him on the third quarter show, and the guy's the worst pitcher in baseball. But I think that's a real weird scheduling spot, that Baltimore spot. I think that A's game's kind of a weird, just weird times. Even the Padres, who I'm going to play today, it's kind of a weirder time, Gill.
You said you're playing the Padres.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Padres today. I'm going to play them with the Yankees in a parlay. I think it pays about plus 140, I think, something like that. So I like this Padres team really, really good. I don't think they're quite as good as the Dodgers offensively, but the bullpen's superb. They've got the best K-minus BB percentage in baseball since August 1st. And I think that's notable when you're going into the playoffs to take a look at how these bullpens are doing, because they just play such a big role when you come to playoff baseball.
Well, who else besides the Padres today did you play?
I'm going to go with the Yankees. I'm going to put them. That's going to be the second leg. I think Garrett Cole, he's got some good numbers, 87% plus stuff, 92nd percentile in the strikeout percentage, last 10 median. I think he's hitting his form, and God, that Yankees offense, we talked about this, the two guys, I don't know if I've ever seen this where they're 1-2 in baseball, OPS, base runs created, however you do it, you've got Judge and Soto right up there together.
So that's a Padres-Yankees parlay, just to clarify?
It is.
Okay.
It is, Gill.
Anything straight, or is that the only base winner play today?
I don't know. It's kind of a tough, like Labor Day is one of those days, like July 4th, Memorial Day. I tend to stay away from the card a little bit. I think if I had to play one straight game, I'd probably go with the Dodgers. I don't think there's anything wrong with Flaherty. He's looking at 88 percentile from a strikeout percentage. He's really suppressing hard hit contact. And then Erod, there's like mixed in the market. There's guys who really like Erod, and then there's me who I really don't like Erod. And you look at his stuff plus, it's in the 4th percentile. You look at Erod's last 10 median strikeout percentage. That's the 4th percentile. And then one thing about the Diamondbacks, I don't think that this has been priced in the market correctly. Is Marte is out, and he's one of those cryptic injuries type thing. He's got this ankle problem, and there's really no definitive timetable. They're saying he's going to come back on the 6th of September, but they said he was going to come back on the 9th of August. Back on the 25th of August. So there's this cryptic injury with Marte. And I think he plays a really big part in that Diamondbacks lineup, Gill.
Mets have won 4 in a row. Cubs have won 6 in a row. The Braves now clinging. I mean, they looked like, right, at one point the Mets overtook them just for a brief moment for that 3rd wild card position in the National League. We have exactly 4 weeks, precisely 4 weeks, 28 days left in the Major League Baseball season. Now the Braves, who had gotten out to a 4-game lead, I think, since then, for that 3rd and final wild card position in the National League. They were even, folks were even talking about them overtaking the Phillies for the division now when they got to that 4-game lead over the wild card, or the wannabe wild card field, those on the outside looking in, if you will. Now it's a 1-game lead over the Mets. 3 over the Cubbies, 5 over the Cardinals. You have remained steadfast by your numbers that the Braves are still a huge favorite to get there. How do you feel now?
Yeah, I have them 74%. I mean, that starts with the best xFIP in baseball, and that's a big deal. Those games against Philly were fairly close. If you look at like last night's game goes into extra innings, they had the lead on the Thursday night game, and even the Saturday game where they didn't score. It was a close game until I think maybe the 7th inning. So I think this Braves team, while they're, offensively challenged, because, when you lose Riley, when you lose Acuna, you are offensively challenged. But even so, they're probably top 10 weighted runs created plus, especially in August. And I think that's a serviceable number. But that pitching is really good. Best bullpen by my numbers. And so, like I said, I have them 74% to get.
I just want to ask you this, and I know this is more nuanced, but in terms of folks who are still making bets, if they haven't yet, and they want to get into some of these markets, miss playoffs, they're still betting divisions. How much of the remaining schedule strength do you factor into your projections? Because I will tell you that while I've made a monthly baseball bet, most wins every single month thus far this year. For those who missed it on Friday, I have the Diamondbacks in the month of September at 25-1. But one of the things that I didn't care as much about in the month of September is your remaining strength of schedule, because I, just from doing this for so many years, and I can't really put my finger on it, but the nature of that doesn't really manifest in the same way to me as it does the other 5 months. Do you view it that way at all?
It's a good theory. I don't know if you can. For the way I model it, like game by game, I put it in a Monte Carlo simulation. So I've got to come up with ratings for each team, but it presents somewhat of a philosophical question in September, as far as like you're rating a team like Pittsburgh, right? Are they going to use Skeens as much as they would say in July? Right. And so that's a really good. I believe in that philosophy. It's just quantifying it. You'd have to go down the team, and you can certainly do it with your run rating going into the simulation, whether it be defensively or offensively. But it's a really good idea, Gill.
Well, it's just, I guess, just from a macro level, it's the point of also with an ever increasing playoff format, right? Like if you're locked into the number, just let's say hypothetically, if you're locked into the number 5 wild card in the final week of the season, how does that club play that, right? Does a team like the Diamondbacks, who are chasing not only a wild card, they're in the wild card position, but they're obviously looking to secure that, but they're chasing the division as well. They're chasing number 1 seed, right? They're chasing all these things. They will be highly motivated to go through it to every single game the rest of the way. So I think there's just more factors. There's a lot more in the mix in the month of September than just a cold, let's say we were in May, and we're just like, who's got the hard, who's got the toughest strength of schedule, who's got the easiest, that kind of thing. So I just think it's something for folks to keep in mind when they're making their bets here down the stretch. There's a little bit of a different alchemy. Last thing, we got 30 seconds. We're 4 weeks out of the postseason. Can't wait. You're still... Your numbers when you get to the postseason, what is it saying? Who's in the World Series per your numbers?
Well, I like the Dodgers. Just kind of pull that out to get there to win the league championship series. I've got them at about 45%. They're just so deep, Gill, and you look at their bullpen, the way they've been able to use that bullpen, and of course, I'm banking that Yamamoto and Glasnow are going to come back. So that's a big caveat. And that's a big question.
Mark, the answer is the Royals versus the Diamondbacks. Sorry, just for some of us who have those bets. Thank you, Mark. Always great to see you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gill. Take it easy, man.
Mark Borchard, ad base winner. Kelly and I back with some NFL. All of our Week 1 bets and futures as well. Next.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan. With a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Looking for the ultimate sports betting podcasts? VSiN has got you covered. With a wide range of podcasts covering every major sport, we're here to help you make smarter bets every season. The Baseball Betting Show with Greg Peterson gives you daily insights into finding value on each day's MLB card. And check out Long Shots, where we deep dive into the world of golf betting, providing you with expert insights to help you bet every tournament. Find all of these podcasts and more at VSiN.com/podcasts or your favorite podcast platform.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
With college football already underway and the NFL kicking off this week, there's never been a better time to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Make this football season your best ever with full VSiN Pro access to our daily best bets, exclusive betting splits data, top-rated betting systems, 24/7 video analysis, plus our updated NFL betting guide with post-preseason updates for every team, new insight on players to watch, Week 1 betting systems, and, of course, more best bets. Grab our football season special and get full VSiN Pro access from now through the Super Bowl for just $175 or start a monthly subscription for just $9.99 and see why VSiN Pro is your ticket to a winning season. Don't wait. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe to take advantage of these offers and start betting smarter today. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. It's Gill Alexander. It is Kelly Bidlin live from Circa. I don't even know what to do with ourselves. It's beautiful. There are walls.
Oh, it's great.
It's fantastic.
It is great.
Kelly, you were out for the last segment, and I read 3 different tweets from folks.
Yeah.
And there's more now because now it's gaining steam. People are tripping over the fact that we're on different sides.
I'm trying to think of what the shot setup was. I mean, we were on a split screen always because we were on, opposite sides of the table, or perpendicular to each other at that table, sort of.
Weird angle.
Yeah, a weird angle. But on screen, it always would have been a split screen, where I still think I would have been on your right and Gill on your left. Maybe I've got that
Square
wrong.
Bob 2022. You are supposed to be sitting on the other side of Kelly. It's getting more aggressive. Trip Tepper, a fun solution for FedEx Cup final. Top 32 compete in match play at Eastlake, but candidly, the FedEx Cup playoff format might not be reparable.
So I am not a fan of I love normal stroke play to bet on, but match play, I agree. I do think if I was running things and for the playoffs, that would definitely be a part of it. Like there is, you can get down to a final 32, a final 16 or whatever,
Tournament.
and you play it like a bracket.
Bracket.
Right?
Yeah. Greg Lazarowitz. I'm sorry, Gil. I can hear you too clearly on the live stream. Can you tell Circa to turn up the slot machines? Thank you.
And don't worry, there will be different things that people get here at Circa.
Yeah.
They didn't get at the D, and Gill has made fun of me for years for typing very loudly. Boy, this mic is very close to the laptop. You're going to get a lot of clicking and clacking in the background.
Oh, and the Sigma Derby horses have tweeted, and why have you guys left us? We are so lonely. Please come back. Hashtag let's ride.
Don't worry, it's Labor Day. You'll have some party goers there.
Appreciate all the tweets. NFL Week 1 now 3 days away. 3 days away. Remember, we got the Chiefs and the Ravens, and then we got the game in Brazil between the Eagles and the Packers on Friday night. You prepared for Friday night NFL football?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the rest of the games, not the rest of them, minus the Monday night, of course.
What else am I doing?
By the way, that was the other thing we were talking about off air that we haven't talked about. Like, there is no Monday night doubleheader Week 1.
Yeah, that makes me... I love them so much, Gil.
So a special numbers game investigation reveals that the Monday night doubleheader is when?
Week 3.
Week 3 is the first.
Because I believe my first text to you was I was very angry over there not being in Week 1 or Week 2, so we clearly must just not be doing it. I didn't bother to look at Week 3. And
Kelly was very upset about this. Very upset.
I love it. It's one of the best things they've done in the NFL over the past, 5 years. Added the Monday night doubleheader at the beginning of the season. For bettors, it's incredible.
They should do it every week.
They should. And I agree.
They should do it every week. Because that won't cause any scheduling problems at all. Okay.
Hey, we'll just leave one on Thursday. We're not asking for 2 on Thursday.
Week 1 bets that you have made. I have bet every one of what I believe, and I'm just going to telegraph the pass on the contest picks because I think you have to bet your your pre-flop convictions from the entire offseason. And so I've made bets in all 5 Circa Millions plays that I believe I will be submitting. Don't hold me to this, obviously. You want perfect information. You want to wait till Saturday as late as you can in case something terrible happens, let's say, in a practice with an injury or what have you. But the bets that I have made, the bets that are in pocket, and I think these will be my Week 1 plays. Cardinals +6. I already have this bet in. This is really related to my conviction that I'm not as high as the Buffalo Bills as some are this year. I do think that the Stephon Diggs absence is bigger than most are sort of allowing it to be in their minds. He stretched the field at the very least and allowed Josh Allen to go crazy to tight ends. I'm not sure that's going to be the case now without somebody to spread the field on offense this year.
So that is the one we share. Oh, no. I see a second one you added that we share.
So Cardinals +6. Anything 6 or more on the Cardinals. But I got the Cardinals +6. And I do think the Cardinals are perhaps underrated conventional wisdom-wise.
I think they are.
Heading into the season.
That's an offense that finished strong last year when Kyler Murray got back on the field. I really don't expect to see much difference when you've got Marvin Harrison back on the team now. You got James Conner back. Like, that is a offense, I think, as long as Kyler Murray's healthy, is a dangerous one. Now, the defense is another story, but that's one you and I share, and I will likely be a contest pick for me, too.
I like it. Eagles, -2.5. Grab that in Brazil on Friday night against the Packers in the Eagles' quote-unquote home game. I do think I'm as big a Jordan Love guy as anybody. I was the one last offseason saying, hey, you hold the clipboard for as long as you have for years under the same offensive system, you sometimes most of the time turn out pretty good. But let's kind of like press the brakes a little bit on that. Eagles -2.5 is still the play the first night of the season.
This one is it's still fascinating to me because I think of all of our offseason discussion, I think I'm the bigger Eagles guy.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I just can't. I definitely lean that way for this game. But I haven't made the bet. I just haven't made the bet. I'm holding back still.
I mean, the issue with week 1 is nothing should surprise you.
Correct,
right?
Yes. Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes back to the Packers, right? They ended the season with such a hot stretch with Jordan Love looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think more of my question is that going to completely carry over to this year or not? In week 1, I might get a little dicey with that.
This one I'm terrified of, as one should be.
Me too.
Because if this goes, someone pointed this out on Twitter. I wish I could remember who, but someone said, everybody's going to lose their minds when the Steelers blow out the Falcons, he said.
They're not blowing them out.
Or let's say he said beat. Whatever the case, the point remains, he's right, based on everything everybody has said the entire offseason. If the Steelers beat the Falcons, it's like, okay, we're back, NFL. I did lay the field goal with the Falcons.
Yes.
The Falcons debut of Kirk Cousins, and when I mean debut, I mean really debut. We have not seen him in a Falcons uniform on the playing field, coming off the Achilles rupture, given the 3 against the Russell Wilson-led Pittsburgh Steelers. So that is pick number 3. I'm also kind of terrified and think I'm going to have multiple survivor picks on the Saints. I laid the 4 here before it got up higher against the Panthers. But again, would it shock me if the Saints just laid an egg? Nothing would shock me, and nothing should shock you in week 1. So that's the 4th pick. And then the one that I probably like better than everybody, I grabbed the Jets +4 before it got any lower.
Yeah, good on you.
The Trent Williams thing is getting dicier and dicier. He is adamant. We've seen him be stubborn about playing. In DC, it was a medical issue that he said, I'm never playing for this team again. He never did. Now we have a guy who's unhappy in San Francisco. He's not coming anywhere close to the playing field. This is not a Brandon Ayuk situation where Brandon Ayuk and the Niners, you kind of got the feeling we're always going to work it out. I don't know if Trent Williams works it out in any kind of, efficient time with the San Francisco 49ers. And I think the world of the Jets, they are stacked on each level of the defense. They were great on defense when they had horrible quarterback play. So they had to be on the field more last year. Now if Aaron Rodgers just gives them any modicum of quarterback play coming off his Achilles injury at age 40, I'll start, and I love the Niners, but I'll take the Jets plus the points. Thank you very much, and I think I'll add a money line play, a sprinkle as well.
I like it. That's another one I haven't bet yet. I think its numbers probably moved too far now that I probably stay off. That's a side I like, though. I wish I would have bet it earlier. As far as mine go, I feel like it was just a lot of grabbing numbers as we were, talking games throughout the summer, especially the past few weeks, as we were getting close to key number moves. So Chiefs, I laid 2.5 with. That's pretty much out to 3. I didn't really get that at 2.5, and there's still 2.5s available on there. I think the Chiefs are a team that got better this offseason. I think the Ravens are a team that did get a little worse this offseason. We are going to be in Kansas City for this game, so laid 2.5 with that one. I like that. Jags Dolphins over 49. I think both these offenses could come out firing. Questions on both defenses, especially Miami's to me. Falcons 2.5. Same thing. We're on that together. Wanted to try to grab at least a piece of that before it went to 3, and I don't even know where we see that close at. Wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 3.5. So 2.5 there. Was able to get this teaser in. Yes, I'm laying -140, but Vikings up to 7.5. We're now a 1-point favorite pretty much everywhere. Bengals down to 2.5. when they were at 9. So worth the 6.5 there. I'm pretty dang confident in that one, but oh boy, teasers get dicey early in the NFL season when there's so much. Like you said, Gil, we get a lot of surprises. So teasers, parlays, I would always caution people a little bit with those. Cardinals, I got 6.5 there, or 6 is out there. I would still bet it at 6 for sure. And then the Bucks, I laid 3, Gil. I laid 3, and I think it might be my survivor play week 1 against your Commanders.
Ask me if it bothered me that Jaden Daniels was at the LSU-USC game in Vegas yesterday.
Oh, I thought this. Why didn't I text you? Did it bother you, Gil? Yeah, it bothered me a little bit. I don't even like the team.
A little bit. Felt a little weird. We'll come back. We'll look at every month the most wins market in baseball for the entire season, including the month of September, of course. That's next.
The summer months are here, which means you're going to have to bet on baseball. This is VSiN MLB